Hey, the better rifle. Drop the gun! Oh, shit! I'm hit. I'm okay. I'm okay. But I'm not gonna die.
All right, we're back today with Tyler. Tyler is currently an active officer at an agency in California. Tyler, why don't you tell us a little about yourself? How long you been an officer for?
About 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you do before you became a police officer?
I was in real estate, home loan side of things.
Okay.
So it was quite the.
During 2008?
Yes, I think I got hired just after that.
Oh, gotcha.
Not the good times.
No.
No, the terrible times is
Yeah.
when I was in it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I did that for several years, and then was fortunate enough to get hired as a police officer, and haven't looked back since.
Okay. What kind of assignments have you worked?
So I've worked patrol. I was assigned to a unit, what we call it a quality of life unit that mostly dealt with homeless population. And
Is there a large homeless population in California?
I've been told there is. I've seen
There's
some of it.
one or
yes.
two out there?
I think there's at least 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that for.
It's just because the housing prices are so.
It's too expensive.
It's too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You just can't
So they
afford anywhere to live.
right.
So they have to.
It's much
shit on the
easier to
sidewalk
get
and-
a free tent from a
Yeah.
homeowner.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and the property taxes are cheaper too with the tent.
Mm.
But yeah, so I did that for a few years, and then I've recently was assigned to our range, and so I work at the
So you're firearms instructor
firearms instructor now.
and
Yeah,
armor, all that,
all the things,
everything related to guns.
everything gun related. That's
Good.
what I do.
Good.
Try and do it well, but not all the time.
All right. Well, we're going to talk today about some of the encounters and experiences you've had in your career as an officer. You had an interesting story involving a fire. I'd like to hear about that a little bit.
Yeah, not a forest fire.
Forest?
Not a forest fire.
No, not a forest fire.
No.
Well, I mean, it's a municipal police department, so not a lot of time spent out in the woods.
No trees were burned
No.
on this one. Yeah, it was it's an interesting story. So working patrol on a midnight shift, I was. It may have been my first shift on midnights, and I was just I I worked one area in the city, and for that night they had moved me to a different area to fill in for people who call in sick or whatever. And so I'm driving down the street and by some train tracks, and I see another patrol car there. So I pull up thinking it's one of my buddies, my partners, and I'll just kind of, it's early in the morning now.
Yeah.
And I'll pull up and talk to them, see how they're doing or whatever. And I pull up, and it's not one of my buddies. It's one of our supervisors. And so I awkwardly I'm like, oh, hey,
How's it going?
see you later. And I drive away, and I don't think much time had passed. Maybe 25 seconds. Mm-hmm. I get a couple blocks away, and I hear the supervisor put out that they are now on scene with a vehicle fire, mm-hmm. and there is a subject inside the car that's on fire.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my initial thought was, what just happened?
Yeah, I just saw you.
I just saw you. You were parked nowhere near where you're saying you're at, and then all of a sudden, there's a car with a human in it on fire. Mm-hmm. So I turn around and go back, drive over there, and sure enough, there's this car parked like kind of in this like little dirt pull off on the street, and fully engulfed. They're pulling the male out of the driver's side of it, and there's this female just kind of carelessly like walking by or whatever. she's just kind of bebopping around there, like, like nothing important's happening behind her.
What time of day is this?
It was early in the morning.
5 a.m.
1 o'clock,
Oh, 1 o'clock.
2 in the morning, something like that. It was starting to get, everything had kind of died down. So it was kind of different for that time. And so she's bebopping around. We're kind of, okay, whatever. And because we're going over to put this guy out.
Things to worry about.
Yeah.
The dude on fire.
Yeah. This guy's on fire. And so we pull him out of the car, and he's burnt pretty bad. And that's when, I think maybe they had like Hollywood flashbacks in their minds, like the car's gonna blow up now, like explode and kill everybody around it. So like, we've got to move this guy. So there's 4 of us now there, and now we're each grabbing a limb to move him away from the burning car.
Yeah, but he's just been cooking in there for.
He was in there for a minute, and so we go to grab him and move. And new officer, most of these things I haven't experienced ever. And I was I was older when I became a police officer. I was into my early 30s when I decided to become a cop.
So you lived some life before.
I had seen a few things.
Yeah.
Nothing like this, but so we each grab a limb and we pick him up to move him.
Did you put on gloves?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We all put gloves on before. That was like the first thing everybody said was.
You didn't want to go in there raw dog.
No, because then it's just. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened
Yeah.
when you grab an extremity of a guy?
As soon as I grabbed it, I felt
on fire.
He was on fire, and I immediately felt like a slip, and I looked down and I realized that his skin is now
attached to your gloves.
Attached to my gloves, and now has moved from his forearm like up to his wrist. So you just have to like squeeze a little tighter, and then you carry him back a little more. So we get this guy away, and I remember taking like a quick glance. I think I had his left arm, and like just a quick scan of the body. All his clothes had been burned off or whatever. I just happened to look down. I knew it was a guy.
Yeah.
I 100% knew it was a male. And I happened to look down, like scan his body, and he was missing some male things.
Okay.
Which was concerning.
Not lost in the fire.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll say the accelerant started there first.
Oh, okay.
And then spread everywhere to the car.
Gotcha. So that's the point of origin in this fire.
Yeah.
If you were an arson investigator, you'd start there.
Yes. Yeah. Right there. Just boom. There it is.
Okay.
Now we work out from here.
Yeah.
So we get this guy away from the car, and he's on the ground, and we're trying to do as much, medical aid as you can give to a human being that's just been practically burned alive.
Yeah. It's
and
a bandage or something.
Something, right? And so we go back. The fire department shows up. The vehicle gets put out. And comes to find out he was sitting in the passenger seat. And let's rewind back to old girl that was just bebopping around.
Yeah.
Turns out she was in the passenger seat of this vehicle. So we grab her and snatch her up because we think she's somehow involved in this fire.
Yeah, you might want to ask her a few questions.
Just a minor investigation.
Figure out what
to see, like if she knew him, if it was her car, because insurance,
Yeah.
So she's kind of rambling a little bit, and they're like, "Go put her in your patrol car, and we got to figure out what's going on with this dude first." So I take her down the street, put her in the back of my patrol car, and I remember sitting there trying to look up her information, and now my car smells like gasoline. So they're called clues, I guess, in law enforcement, indicators. Like maybe she was involved in this because of the gasoline smell.
I hope we took her lighter off of her before we got.
Yeah. She was thoroughly searched, and so anyways, so I'm sitting in the car and I see the ambulance show up, and the guy's probably like, I don't know, they're maybe 40 yards away from me or whatever, and I've got like a clear view of this. And I see the paramedics and firefighters and some officers still there. And they get oh boy, and they put him on the gurney, and they're trying to render as much medical aid to this guy as possible. Mm. And then 30 seconds goes by or whatever, and I never seen anything like this in my life. And this guy jumps up off the gurney and takes off running. Just takes off running.
Yeah. The guy whose skin would just melted off in your hands.
Yeah. And so I'm just watching this happen, and meanwhile she's just rambling back here.
So you got the barbecued eunuch just going for it.
Yeah. But then I'm looking at everybody else there, and everybody's kind of like, what do we do? Like, essentially this guy's a victim. Yeah. So you can't you don't want to can't use force on him or anything to try and help him. You're just like,
just let him get a little exercise.
Hey, come back here or whatever. So they end up getting him back and back on the gurney, and they get him in ambulance and they get him out of here. It turns out he had, I believe it was his 3rd degree burns over 100% of his body. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they see him leave, and I got her back there, and she's back there talking about marbles, mm-hmm. and is saying something about he put my marbles in his ass.
Okay.
Well, okay. And then she's like, so I poured gasoline on him and lit him on fire.
Yeah.
I was like,
I mean, that's
it
how you
seems aggressive, but
solve a schoolyard dispute.
Right. Yeah. Right. So she's going on about that, and come to find out, I guess they had met up to hang out, mm-hmm. at 1:00 in the morning. Both had needs.
Yeah. Was there methamphetamine involved?
I believe there was.
Probably a little.
There was, at least on her end, mm-hmm. probably for several years. And so they're in the car, and she had somehow tied him up.
She tied him up.
Yeah, but okay. Willingly, like the what's that? The bondage stuff.
Yeah.
And his hands were tied behind his head around like the headrest.
Okay.
And shortly after that was when she became upset, and she pours the gasoline in his lap, mm-hmm. and then yells at him through the passenger door, and then just lit
him on fire.
Yeah. And then walks away. And the only way he was able to get free out of the car was he had to wait for the cloth that was tied up with to burn off.
And
then he got out. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was intense.
I think it's unfair that if she really wanted the marbles back, then you at least let him get his hands free so he can get the marbles out.
Right. I think it was that he had put him in and taken him out.
Oh.
So she was upset about that.
Gotcha. So they were kind of stained.
Yeah, it was a wild story.
Okay.
Yeah. Still trying to figure that one out. Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting intro into law enforcement.
Working midnights.
Yeah. Hey, here you go.
Shift. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't teach you that in the academy. Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
That was a wild one.
All right. Let's talk about this other guy in the tuxedo.
This was this is also probably within my first year of being a policeman.
You're busy.
Yeah. Midnights were a hoot.
Well, there's a little bit of crime that happens.
I believe yes.
And there's some methamphetamine, and there's a couple of homeless people.
Right.
Okay.
And a lot of alcohol. Oh. Mostly all the alcohol at night. And so working midnights again, it's probably, I don't know, 2:00 in the morning or something like that.
It's the witching hour.
Yeah, it's the bewitching hour. Yeah. Nothing's open. And you've consumed all the alcohol for the day. Yeah. And you got to get ready for tomorrow. Yeah. So
you can't find your marbles.
No, because they're in somebody's butt, So me and my partner, we get dispatched to, I think it was a check the welfare or something like that, of a male subject passed out or sitting on the curb unresponsive. And so we get there, park away a little bit and walk up. And sure enough, there's this dude just sitting there perfectly on the curb. So his feet are kind of in the gutter, but he's like kind of like crunched over, like kind of holding his legs, like he's out. He's
Like
passed
he's about
out.
to do a cannonball.
Yeah. Just like that. And so, and he's just chilling like that, 2:30 in the morning. But he's wearing like a tuxedo,
Yeah.
like full on dress shoes,
Don't wanna look
black
like
socks.
Don't look like some slouch out there.
I think he had kicked the bow tie loose a little bit just because it was the end of the night.
Is
So
it like a wedding or
if something like that,
quince nearby?
maybe a
or
quinceañera or
Okay.
something like that, or a birthday party.
birthday party?
Yeah,
You haven't been drunk until you've been Mexican kid's birthday party drunk.
yeah. That's when you sit on the curb
Oh,
and
yeah.
go to sleep.
That makes sense.
Right, in the middle of the night. Yeah. So we walk up and we're looking at this dude and like, okay, like what are we gonna do? Like, my first thought is, okay, well he's breathing. Right, check. We could see he's breathing, like he's alive. So we're like, okay, he's alive. And then we're like, okay, and we could smell the booze coming off of him. Kind of like, okay, he's probably drunk. Why don't we just put him in handcuffs, wake him up, figure it out, see if he needs a ride home or something like that, or whatever.
Yeah, so get some advantage over him before this turns south, maybe.
Right. Do what they taught you to do.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I tell my partner, I'm like, hey, let's just put handcuffs on him right now, and then figure it out. And he's like, no, we need to stand him up. And I'm like, and mind you, he's in the cannonball position.
Yeah.
So you really don't have an idea of like what this guy's dimensions are.
Yeah. If he was in like a jackknife, then you might have a better idea.
Correct.
But a cannonball, yeah.
Cannonball,
It's all
no.
tucked in
It's
nice
like
and
a,
tight.
yeah. So my partner's like, no, let's stand him up. And
Let's
then
get him awake.
Yeah.
Wake him up.
Yeah.
Get him nice and alert and up on his feet.
100%.
And then we'll figure out what happens.
Then we'll see how we're going to do this.
Good.
And so,
Sounds like he wants to have an exciting time.
yeah. And so I'm like,
You're just not sporty enough. That's the problem.
I think that was it. He had about, I think, I may have been on like 6 months at the time. And I think he had been on like a year. We were like 6 months apart in academies. And so, well, clearly he had way more experience than me.
Yeah, he's
and,
twice as experienced.
Yeah. And so I was, but I remember like having like a bad feeling or
But you got this veterano here. You got to listen to him.
yeah. And I don't want to be disrespectful. Right? So we, so we're like, all right, I guess we'll stand him up. So we're like, hey, buddy. And we each grab an arm kind of and like trying to stand this dude up. And it's like those cartoons you watch, where they plant the seed in the ground and then they like hit it with a little water and it just rapidly grows to like this massive tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of like that. So this guy, we're helping him stand up while he's standing up. And, yeah, I'm not terribly tall. 5'6", 6-ish, right?
Yeah, on a good day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, easy, right?
When you get your hokas on.
Yeah. With the like this, yeah, 100%. And my partner, he's like maybe an inch taller than me or whatever, right? And so this dude, we're standing this dude up, and he grows to like 6'8".
Yeah.
300 pounds.
So it just keeps going.
It just manifests into this huge human.
Mm-hmm.
And we both kind of were like, oh, here we go. But as soon as he stands up, he realizes that there's people holding on to his arms. So he violently, I'm on his left side. So he just like does this tornado move and whips around 360 degrees before we know what happens, and just punches me right in the face. Boom. And so I go stumbling kind of off like, oh, what just happened?
Good thing we stood him up.
Yeah, I was real glad we stood him up, so we had the advantage. And so he punches me in the face, just boom, happens like that. And I kind of stumble back, and I was spinning around, and I immediately was pissed. Not because I'd just been punched in the face.
Because I fucking told you so.
Because
right?
it was, I told you so. I knew this was going to happen. And And so I just kind of stumble for a minute, and by the time I turn around, my partner had already, put him in handcuffs and taken him into custody, and he was kind of like, "Wah, wah, wah," but he didn't really know. So we go put him in the car, and call a boss because I had clearly been assaulted. Yeah. So I think they had more fun with this than anything else. So the boss comes out and he's like, "Oh, we got to take pictures of you, everything, because you've been, a victim."
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm good. Not really. Like, no, you've been a victim.
We're going to get you a victim assistance guy.
We're going to get you taken care of.
Yeah.
Right. And so
call the wellness committee.
Right.
Here.
So now I've got to stand in front of a patrol car with all the lights on me, while my partner, who didn't listen to me, is now taking photos of me from 360 degrees for any injuries I may
make sure
have.
You're taken care of.
Yeah. No injuries. And I look back and I can see the sergeant chuckling in the background too. I'm like, oh, this is good. This is good. So we go back to the car, and now we're talking. Now that's done, and we're gonna talk to the guy, like, figure it out. And we're thinking we're just gonna deal with this, like, drunk asshole. Like, here we go. Big dude, whatever.
He just punched you out.
Just damn near knocked me out. And so we go back there, and he had kind of come to and realized what had happened, and was probably like the nicest guy ever. Apologetic. He's like, I'm sorry. It's like, I didn't mean to do that. It's like, I thought I was being robbed, probably because we were standing him up. Yeah.
Because you grabbed him off the
Yeah. Because we picked him up, and I didn't want to do that. That was a lesson learned that day for both of us.
Call that tactics.
Yeah. Right. And they were poor that day. So, super nice dude. Kind of felt bad after that, having to book him into jail, but he didn't have anywhere to go, and he was still pretty intoxicated. So we went ahead. He
didn't want him to punch anybody else.
Yeah. And so we went ahead and booked him, and that was that was my what's that called? Intro to proper tactics.
Just to tactics, yeah.
Right.
Some of us are the touch the stove kind of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what if it's not hot?
We gotta learn somehow. So talk to us about working in the street impact team and dealing with athletic homeless folks.
That was one of my favorite assignments. I love that job. Not as much as I love the one I do now, of course, but it was pretty good. I've been pretty fortunate.
So in the impact team, you guys don't really go to calls for service. But
no, we're more of a. It was more of a proactive, like, policing unit.
And you focus on specific projects.
Quality of life issues.
And the majority of the quality of life issues are related to
the homeless.
Yeah.
Because
there's nothing that's really illegal in California anymore, including drugs.
Correct.
So there's a lot of mentally ill drug addicts just roaming around and living on the street.
Right. It's okay. Yeah. You can do that. Yeah. So that's what we dealt with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
When they were having issues, we would respond and deal with them.
Well, I mean, so since 2014 is when they passed Prop 47, and they didn't legalize it, but they decriminalized methamphetamine. And now it's 2024, so you can smoke meth every day, and if you're caught with meth, it's just a citation, so you don't actually go to jail anymore.
Yeah.
So there's people that have smoked meth every day for the last 10 years, and
Correct.
if you do that, you go crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you go crazy. Yeah. That's pretty much
you
it.
Go insane.
Yeah. You tend to cook the good brain cells, I believe.
So there's people that have cooked all the good cells out of the
kind of like when you have ground beef and you're cooking it in a skillet to make, like, I don't know, tacos, right? And but you turn the pan on and, like, you're browning the meat, and then you're like, your kids call you, or I don't know, anything else important happens, and you're like, I want to go do that.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'll be right back, and you go do that, and you're doing your thing. You're like, crap, ground beef, and you go back, and, like, a lot of it's burned. Kind of the same thing that happens to the brain.
10 years of browning the transient beef brain.
Yes, it gets to gristle, and the gristle is what can't hold thoughts anymore. So that's what I've discovered.
But physically, we're pretty resilient people.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They bounce off cars. I mean, they can
Trains.
trains. They can fall out of trees. You name it. You or I? Oh, done.
Yeah.
100% done.
And I've talked about this before. I really miss, so I started in 2007,
Hmm.
which is like at the tail end of the crack epidemic.
Okay.
Crack was big, and you don't see crack anymore.
No.
It doesn't exist because it's been supplanted by methamphetamine.
Right.
And one of the things that I preferred about crack over meth is that, like, I mean, crackheads did crazy stuff also, but there's something about meth that draws people into the police in a way that crack didn't. Like if you were high on crack, you knew to avoid the police.
Yes.
But if
Yeah.
you're like every day, there's somebody that's on meth who's standing in front of the police department, pulling the phone off and screaming at the dispatcher
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
through the phone in the police department, or standing at the back gate where the cars go in and out to try to jump on the front of a police car. And it's like something about meth that draws them in like a moth to the flame.
Yeah, it is. It's
And
like the bug zapper.
the bug zapper.
Yeah, except like if you have like there'll be a group of cops like investigating something there, and you'll get that one
Tweaker.
yeah, that one the meth user that just comes, bebopping up, and they think, "Hey,
And he really needs to talk to you.
I'm going to just do whatever it takes to get these cops' attention, even though I am high out of my mind and have been for the past 8 years." Except now, like normally, if you get that moth to a flame when it hits the bug zapper, boom, done, right? Now the zapper is more of like, shoo away.
Can you not do that
Can
right
you,
here?
yeah, get away from me. You're weird. You know what I mean? Type of a thing. And then they kind of realize it and like, oh, they get sad because like, oh, I'm weird. And then they walk away.
Or they don't.
Or they just walk into traffic and,
Get run
whatnot,
over.
whatever. But yeah, so that was a fun time. I saw a lot of interesting things with that too, like as far as like residents, like makeshift residents.
Like where they lived.
Yeah, their homes. And I was kind of mind blowing because like you realize that regardless of the amount of drugs that you've done in your life, you can still be pretty creative.
Yeah.
I saw some pretty elaborate
Riverbed structures.
caves, structures. I saw one that was this labyrinth of like caves. Like it had a legit bathroom area,
Yeah.
like a room. And then there was like a living room and a bedroom in the back. And this was all done in dirt. And, but it was like when they clear, like when they're going to do new construction and they pile, like they have all the piles of dirt, the mounds that they have, but they're like all kind of piled together. And these guys had like now turned into like out of water beavers.
Yeah.
And like carved their way through these mounds of dirt and created these residences. Like
an apartment.
if you were a
complex.
kid, like when you're a kid and you built forts, with like the furniture and blankets and stuff, it was like a real life version of that.
So the homeless dude's fort game is on
Yes.
point.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was wild. Well, not just a tent with like some belongings in it, but like legit.
Tarps, plywood.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times they'll run electrical too.
They did have lighting in one of them. Yeah, I've seen them where
You
they
got a
have
generator and you're
a
running
solar
electrical.
panel. They would, they take a solar panel and it runs out. I've seen TVs in them, flat screen TVs in a
If you just
riverbed.
devoted a little bit of this energy towards, I don't know, just normal life
Yeah,
activity.
100%.
You're gonna be a millionaire.
Yeah, like you could afford that if you just, you could go to McDonald's and work $20 an hour or whatever and be set. So yeah, so we had a funny experience with a familiar homeless. There was a family in a certain part of town that we had to deal with on a daily basis, to the point where we were actually on a first name basis.
Yeah. So repeat customers.
Yeah. Both of us. They knew us and we knew them. And so, and we contacted them daily, moving them around here and there because you can't really do anything with them because they're protected. Like they can't go to jail for the crimes they commit because it's not crime enough.
They're not crimes anymore. Yeah. Not
Right.
crime enough.
Yeah. So, but people were still upset and they're like, we need to do something about
Yeah.
it.
Well,
So we tried.
Can we get this guy to stop stealing our stuff?
Right.
And stop like shitting in front of our store?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we're like, well, yeah, that's technically illegal, but we're not allowed to take him to jail for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Because that makes sense.
yeah, it's really weird how
Mhm.
you can poop in front of like a Pizza Hut,
Mm-hmm.
right? No problems. And the people that come in to get their pizza, now it's not like somebody was like walking a dog and the dog accidentally, shit right there. Like it was a human.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just pow, there it
And,
is.
and the consistency tends to be a little bit
It
looser
is
than the dog.
a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because not a lot of fiber in that diet. And so, uh, so we were having some issues, and they're like, "Hey, can you guys go take care of this?" And we're like, "Yeah." And so we knew this lady had a warrant
Mm-hmm.
because it was for a
Because it
ticket,
had been 3 weeks since the last time she got a citation.
right? And it was one of the like a citation we had given her. So
Yeah.
we're like, "All right,
You're like, wait, when was that?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Her
oh,
warrant's
it's good
back.
to go."
Yeah.
So we're like, "Okay, we're gonna go contact her and take her to jail, book her in jail for 8 hours or whatever it is that California allows us to keep them." And and to prove a point,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, if you just stay doing your thing, we won't bother you too much. But she'd cross that line, so we ended up contacting her, and she's like late 50s, maybe early 60s,
Mm-hmm.
probably like 102 pounds. That might be a bit much, maybe
Yeah.
like 95, whatever. Meth had really been her primary diet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So real skinny.
Methamphetamine, like hot Cheetos and Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I think if you put with the hot Cheetos, if you put the cheese whiz in it,
Okay.
like that.
Extra protein.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
Yeah.
she's fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Fit. Yeah. Yeah. She was fit. But probably about 98 pounds. And so we pull our car, we see her with, she always had like at least 5 shopping carts
Mm-hmm.
for one person, all full of garbage.
For her belongings.
Yeah, for her stuff. And so we see her, and I remember getting out of the car and like going to walk up to her, and I was like, "Hey, you're coming with us,"
Mm-hmm.
like, and you know why. And for some reason, this old gal didn't want to go to jail that day,
Yeah.
and she just takes off running. Boom, just bolts on us.
Mm-hmm.
And both my partner and I are standing there, and we just kind of look at each other, and then like look at her, and we're like, is she really running from us right now?
Is that a 60-year-old lady running?
Yeah, just running from it. And it was fun. It was because it was a very chaotic run.
Mm.
She's just like one leg doesn't know what to do and the other one, but the arms don't either. But the
Yeah.
mind's telling them like we should move fast. So
Yeah.
all of them are doing like
Kind
crazy
of like
things.
a flailing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so she takes off running, and we're like, all right, we're going to go she's got to run out of gas soon. There's no way she can run more than 100 yards.
Yeah. Fueled up on
Oh,
hot
yeah.
Cheetos. And
Yeah. And
Maybe
it was in the morning too. So I don't think she really had a chance to start her day.
Mhm.
You
She hadn't limbered up. She hadn't done her morning
no,
stretches.
definitely hadn't stretched
Okay.
that morning. Not yet. It was too early. And that was another reason we're like, oh, we'll get her out for the day, whatever. So we get in our car, we back up, and we start driving, and we're kind of like paralleling her, and we see her like run across the street, and there's an apartment complex there, but there's well, I know there's a solid fence. I think probably like a 6 foot like wood slatted fence. And I told my partner, I'm like, hey, go around here and turn in. There's a driveway and turn in, and I was like, we'll pull up here, and I'll get out, and as she's somehow trying to climb over this fence, as soon as she gets down, we'll hook her up and take her to jail.
Yeah.
And as we pull in, all of a sudden, we see old girl just dart past the front of our car. Yeah, saying no.
But your timing was a little off.
Yeah, and when once again we're bewildered by this because I was like, no way she jumped that fence. Like there has to be a gate through that fence. So she continues to run. Man, we got eyes on her. She's not gonna go there. And we're like, I walk up to the corner and I look over at the fence to confirm there was a gate there.
Yeah.
That she came through the gate. And I look, no gate. She cleared the fence.
Yeah.
I must have hit it feet first and just booked it.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I still to this day don't know how she miracled herself over that fence. But it was fast. It was like you're chasing like a 20-year-old or something like that.
You got officers that can't do that.
Right, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, we just go through the fence. And so now we get on foot and we're kind of like corralling this, and she's running out of gas now. She still don't want to go to jail. And so we're like, now we're mad though. We're like, why you stop running from us? You look silly. Like, stop this. And so we get her cornered, and she's just kind of like it's like when you're just like trying to like corral her in there, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, no. And I see her look over like she's going to take off and do it again. And I'm like, no, you're not. So I pull my taser out and point at her. I'm like, I will tase you if you take one more step.
Yeah.
And she finally gives up. So we go up.
It's called de-escalation.
Yeah, 100%. So we go up and handcuff her, but we're mad at her. We're mad at her for running from us. Not the fact that she chose to run. It was that she ran from us.
We guys are on a first name basis.
We're on a first name basis. Like,
Yeah.
we're pretty respectful both ways, and that's pretty disrespectful to just take off and run.
You thought you had a better relationship with Stephanie.
I did. I thought we were way better than that, and apparently we weren't. And so now we're like chastising her as we're going back. Like, what do you think you're doing, running from us? And she, I'm sorry. You know, doing
Something
her
in the
whole
meth
thing.
that day.
Just yeah.
So
So we get her thrown in the back seat, and in the whole ride to jail, you know, she's got her face right up to the little grate there, and it's like asking us how we're doing, what we're doing the rest of the day. Sorry for running again. Won't do it again.
Yeah. She smoked some of the run meth that day.
Yeah.
And
But it was just like you're taking a buddy to the store or something like that, except we were taking her to jail. She never ran from us again.
Pretty much. Well, I mean, get her a bologna sandwich and
Yeah, that's true.
get her back on her way.
They get a sandwich, get some actual food in them, so they can run faster. But yeah, that was that one. That was fun. I've never seen a 60-year-old clear a 6-foot fence with ease. I actually didn't see it, like visually see it, but with the time that elapsed from last seeing her until seeing her again.
Yeah, it's either that or a magic trick.
100%. Yeah.
It's like David
She can
Copperfield
e- yeah,
just
she
appearing
can either-
somewhere else in the stadium.
Yeah.
Like what?
I mean, I don't know if meth gives you the ability to fly.
Yeah, maybe it was the teleportation meth.
I don't know.
Chris Angel's her way over there.
Yeah. She just, and but I think she kept her legs moving so that as soon as she came down, just like a slingshot.
That meth does some stuff to you.
Yeah, it's wild stuff.
Oh man, talk to us about when we first met one of your FTOs, a mutual friend of ours, a guy named Phil.
When I first met him, is that what okay. So in the academy, obviously, I
was there.
You were there. Yeah, you were there with us daily. You go through various stages of the academy, firearms, arrest and control, and all that. One part of arrest and control is the red man, where you actually have to get involved in a physical altercation.
The defensive tactics.
And use the defensive tactics to...
That's where they teach you to handcuff the guys while they're still sitting on the ground.
Correct.
Okay, good.
Yeah, where you don't stand them up.
Well,
and I remembered that, like things that happened after that.
you paid close attention.
Oh, yeah, but I was outranked. Yeah, clearly. And so we're going in to do our red man, and I didn't know this at the time. I found out afterwards, but the list of FTOs had already come out
For field
training officer
when you graduate the academy.
who we were going to ride with, or they knew who they were getting. The officers knew which recruit they were getting. And so Phil knew that I was going to be his trainee during the second phase. So apparently had requested that I...
he wanted to get a proper introduction.
Right. He wanted to introduce himself to me
During
before
the
anybody
academy-
else.
During the academy.
Before
Hey, you
you
graduated, and he was.
I'm going to be teaching you how to be a police officer in about 6 weeks or whatever, just so you know. So it's not weird.
He was like, "My name's Phil.
Right.
It's nice to meet you."
Right. Yeah. So there was no awkwardness when we actually get into a police car together. We're kind of already that
Yeah.
cohesive
You
unit.
guys are like old buddies.
Yeah. Just pals. And so prior to us going into the boxing ring, which was where it was at, I think we had to do like 25 burpees or
Some
something
kind of
like
exercise,
that. Something to get your heart rate up to go in there. And so I put the headgear on you and throw the mouthpiece in, and like, all right, go through these doors, and you're gonna go in there, and you're gonna take this guy into custody.
You're gonna go arrest this guy.
You're gonna go arrest this guy. Here's your foam baton too, by the way, and no gun, nothing, just a foam baton, and they're gonna
that plastic red one or blue one or whatever.
yeah, and but it's gonna work. We promise. And so I'm like, all right, fine. You have to get, and the problem was too. So when you do the red man, it's 2 minutes. It's supposed to simulate like the amount of time it would take if you were involved in a fight for a backup to arrive or your partners to show up and help you out. So you got to kind of like maintain yourself for at least 2 minutes. So that's the red man was like 2 minutes long. And then so I remember I go running through the doors, and there's a bunch of instructors and stuff in there, and I look up in the boxing ring. Then there's Phil, and Phil was a big guy. Yeah,
Big strong guy.
big strong guy. Yeah, I think he likes like the MMA stuff, and
And he wasn't wearing the typical red man attire.
no,
what
it
is
was
that?
shorts and a t-shirt,
But
and
what
he
do they
had.
what do they normally wear?
Oh, they normally have this like full padded suit, like that's it's got leg padding and it's got a chest deal and arms and stuff like that,
Designed to protect him from
designed to
your
protect them from my
Nerf baton.
Nerf baton that I'm just violently swinging at them.
Yeah.
He's not wearing any of that. He's got MMA gloves on, and he's got like it's boxing headgear on. That's it. And so I remember running in, and I look into the ring, and I see it's him, and immediately we weren't really like supposed to cuss in the academy.
Yeah.
But as I'm trotting in there, all pumped up from the burpees I just did, looking at what I'm going to take care of, and I looked in and I had my mouthpiece in, and I just said, fuck me. Like,
You didn't say, "Sir, you're under arrest"?
no. So I climb in the ring, and I'm like, I'm hitting him, telling him, I'm a police officer.
Yeah.
Like,
Giving him lawful orders.
yeah, get on the ground. I've got this baton.
And did he get right on the ground for you?
No, he started like kind of walking towards me. So I'm letting him have it with this Nerf
Yeah.
baton,
Just giving
right,
it to him.
right in the right spot in the leg where they tell us to do it. Get back, get on the ground.
Yeah.
No, and it's not working.
No.
He takes it from me, and then
Should have transitioned to your whistle.
yeah, a whistle would have been great because at least it would have like bothered his ears, and so he, so then now we're fighting, which is basically he's doing whatever he wants to me, and I'm just kind of there, but we'll call it we're fighting, and so
It's like a 5-year-old wrestling with his dad.
yeah, or like if a kid had like a teddy bear or something like that, and they're just like and then they go get it again. Like,
Yeah. And you're the teddy bear.
yeah, I was the teddy bear, and so somehow we get into this. He gets me into like a clinch or whatever, and he's got his hands locked around the back of my neck, my head's down or whatever. So all I can see is like straight down at the ground, and he does have some fighting skills, mostly because he belongs to a particular gym where they practice these things on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I didn't go to that gym.
Yeah.
No, I was just in the academy
You missed that day.
running and, just doing some push-ups and running around. And then so he starts to we're in like our full like little get up and wearing the bulletproof vest that they give us that the last 7 years have worn.
Been handed down.
Oh yeah, it's
quite a bit.
good.
It
It's
fits
good.
nice.
Oh, it
All
was
the- all the
snug.
straps are,
Yeah,
are well
they're
maintained.
they're all good to go. It smells great. Yeah.
Yeah. Been
It's
sweated in by
kind of
every
like
recruit
it's
for
kind
the
of
last
like
10
a
years.
it would be like a brisket or something like that. Like just over time, like it's just the flavor is just growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do one of these, like,
Yeah.
is that cat food?
Don't know.
Like, no.
You don't know. Do I
No,
smell
no,
like cat
the
food?
corn chips.
Yeah. You have no idea. No idea. And then so I'm wearing all this. So then he starts to like just knee me in the chest. And because of how he has my head, I'm stuck. Like looking, I'm having to watch this.
Yeah, and he's not getting on the ground.
No. He is not listening to what I have to say. I'm clearly telling him he is under arrest, and he still won't listen to me. I don't know. So he keeps kneeing me in the chest, and I think I count like 3 times or something like that, and then he stops. Maybe because I thought he was like, all right, maybe this guy means business.
Yeah, he was intimidated.
Yeah, he was, because of all the absorption that I was taking from him. Like, yeah, send it, dude. I'll see you punch me all day long. I'll be right here.
You're like Homer Simpson in a boxing match.
Yeah, 100%. And so, so then he lets me out of this, and I'm like, all right, I got to do something here. But as soon as he lets me go, he punches me in the face.
Well, he's just tiring himself out. I mean,
It was kind of the rope and dope thing is what I was going for there. And so he punches me in the face, and I remember spinning around, and like
that might have hurt his hand.
Yeah, well, he had the gloves on. I think he still did, and I had headgear on, so I didn't want him to hurt his hand.
Yeah,
because I'd have felt bad. And so he punches me. So I remember spinning around again. It's a modern thing with getting spun around, or a common thing with me getting spun around. And so I spin around, and I remember like the world like coming like close to like this, like that tunnel vision you get. And I thought to myself, I'm like, don't you pass out, don't pass out, don't pass out. And everything opened back up again. And then the whole time I'm like, how much time is left? Are they going 2 minutes, or is this like
is this real 2 minutes?
Are they keeping time? Did they just stop it? And I'm like, yeah, let's just see what happens. This guy can take a punch for quite a while.
They wouldn't do that.
No, not at all. And so then I get my bearings together somewhat, and I'm looking at him, and I'm still telling him he's under arrest.
Yeah.
Like, you need to listen to me. We can keep doing this all day, but it's not going to change the fact that you're under arrest.
You're going to jail.
You need to get on the ground right now. And so I don't think he liked that either.
No.
So then he grabs me. And I also think that not only did he train in mixed martial arts and whatnot, I believe he was a fan of like the WWE or WWF, and really enjoyed when they suplexed people.
Yeah.
So he did that to me. He picked me up, suplexed me. Yeah. So I land on my back, and I remember hitting the ground, and I remember thinking at the time, like, this guy just suplexed me. Like,
It's like floor.
that's pretty cool.
Ceiling, floor.
Yeah. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, I'd never been suplexed before.
Yeah.
So one part of me was like in awe, like, hell yeah. And then the other part when I hit the ground was like, that really hurt. But you have to keep fighting, or they're going to make you do this
You
again
start
with
over
him.
again, yeah.
And I don't think he's tired.
Yeah.
So I remember immediately rolling over on my back, just like throwing myself around. And he had just suplexed me, so I think he was on his stomach kind of all for me. And I just remember like jumping on him and like trying to pin him to the ground with all of my body weight that I had at the time.
Now you got him right where you want
And
him.
I'm just thinking, please stop this. Wondering where the time is. And it was nice of him to let me do that for a while, because he clearly did. And then time was up.
Because you guys were more comfortable at that point. You got the introduction out of the
right.
way.
Yeah. He was like, hi, how are you? And so that was all over. And then right after that, you have to get out of the ring and go over, because you're all huffing and puffing. And now you have to take somebody into custody, right? So one of your poor academy mates is like laying there on the ground. They haven't done any of this. They're just laying on the ground, like in prone position, and you got to handcuff them. So now I get your big dumbass coming out of the ring, just wiped out, not caring about their safety or anything like that. And they're just grabbing arms and, running handcuffs on them, and they're kind of squealing because it hurts, but you're not paying attention to any of that. So I handcuffed the guy, and one of the other officers there, he was a big dude, and he kind of leans down. I'm huffing and puffing, and he's like, "You did good." I was like, "Thank you, sir." He's like, "You got your ass kicked, but you did good." And I'm like, "Thank you." And then I remember I remember asking you later. I'm like, what was that all about? And you're like, oh, he just wanted to establish dominance, so there was no confusion.
Yeah, once you
when
get
you
out
got in
there,
the car together. And I'm like, he could have just said something, and that would have worked just as good.
yeah,
Just as good.
he could have just told you that he was in charge.
Yeah.
Or it was probably implied.
I'm the boss. You know, maybe poke me real hard in the chest with his finger or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, no, didn't do that. And I think I remember asking him, I was like, how many, like, he needed me in the chest a lot. I said, I want to say it was like 3 times. And you're like, it was like 7 or 8. And then I realized that I had lost count on account of the fact that I was with the multiple knees. It wasn't allowing me to breathe in air. So I think I was kind of.
Yeah, I think most of the oxygen came out of you on that first
On
one.
the first
it
one.
was pretty loud.
Yeah, you heard that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was a combination of like a thud and like life leaving your body.
Yeah,
and
it's what it felt
all
like.
Hope.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It was like an out of body experience. Like I was looking down on my body as this man was just violently assaulting me. But it was good. It builds character.
Good.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting punched in the face and spun around, and then doing it some more, and it's like maybe we should go back and sell some more real estate loans.
Yeah. No. Still way better than what I used to do. Way better. It's probably why I don't like getting punched in the face anymore. But yeah, I would still say it's definitely better than what I used to do.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it. Good times.
All right. Well, Tyler, thanks for coming out and talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for everyone out there for listening, and stay frosty.
See ya.